Views and opinions of the station and its management.
Good morning. Court Radio is now in session. Call 215-227-2727. When you've got legal questions, we've got the answers. This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back, folks. It is Court Radio. We're here. We're live. We're in person. Court Radio brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. If you need legal advice, give us a call today at 215-227-2727. I will do my very best to get you an answer to your question. Yes, the obligatory explosion. 215-227-2727. That's the only number you need to know. You get that right, you'll get some help. Today, Court Radio, you got legal questions. All you got to do is dial that number, and we will do our very best to get you an answer between now and 8 a.m. when we pass the microphone off to my friend Vince Hughes. In any event, things are squeaking. Things are going well in Philadelphia. Last night we had yesterday there was a huge explosion at a Pico substation, which caused power outages all over the city. If you've experienced those, they're bringing on section by section back online again. It was interesting. There was foam everywhere that was used to fight the potential fire. Some bad news out in California, in Oakland, where there's a fear that up to 40 partygoers in a pickup party, like a party, it wasn't a planned event, but they all sort of coalesced around some music, and they were in this old building, and a fire began, and it wasn't easy to get out. And like I said, perhaps as many as 40 people passed as a result of that fire. To their families and loved ones, we wish them our condolences, and that they should find strength in this really horrible time in their lives. 215-227-2727. We also have some good news. Temple beat Navy, but didn't just beat them. They beat them down. At one point, I looked at the game. It was 24-7. And so Temple, the real deal, is looking for a bowl invite. And I guess today we'll find out where they're going. Certainly going to be a decent bowl. They're the winners of their league, which I think it's the athletic conference, but I used to be the A10. I think they're members of the athletic conference, but I'm not 100% sure. But if you know the answer, give me a call. We'll get you a Court Radio T-shirt, 215-227-2727. I'm joined in the studio with my friend and Court Radio's sponsor, the one, the only, Center City Medical, Benny Benjamini.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Benjamini. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. We love to have Dr. Benjamini out here because he, number one, is a sponsor of Court Radio, and number two, his practice is really very well geographically spread out around the city of Philadelphia. He's got a Northeast office. He's got an office near Einstein Hospital and one in Center City. So if you need chiropractic care, he's the man to see in any one of those neighborhoods. Also provides some parking facilities at all three, even in the Center City one?
Center City does, yes, that's correct.
Wow, okay. And But we're not having him come out here today to talk about something good. Actually, we're about to touch upon a topic which was in the news recently. There was a Playboy model, Katie May, who died after a chiropractor tore open her artery while he was manipulating the bones in her neck. And so we're going to have him, Dr. Benjamini, talk to us about how that could happen and whether that's a concern that all patients should have. But in the meantime, we're going to take a call because that's what we do here. And folks, if you've got legal questions, I know the lines are lighting up. Monica's going to get to you real soon. Just keep the calls coming at 215-227-2727. Let's talk to Janie from Chester, PA. Good morning and welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, Janie. And how about you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Always like to get at least one caller from Chester in every week. So...
And I would be that one.
That is. You representing Chester, Janie. So what's your question?
My question is, I've had temporary custody of my niece for at least 8 years now. And I don't know where to go from here. I don't know. Should I apply? I mean, what is it too late, or what's the time frame to open the case back up? What steps should I take from this point?
Okay, well, what's your current arrangement? You say you have a temporary custody order signed by the court giving you custody of your niece?
Yes.
Okay. Well, does the order specifically say whether it's for a period of time or just it says temporary, but it doesn't say like temporary and expires in 3 months or 6 months or something of that nature?
No expiration.
No expiration.
It was left open. Yes.
Okay. So it's still valid. It's still a valid order. And yes, you could file a petition for permanent custody if you so chose to do that. I'm not sure at this point it's necessary. You haven't told me anybody's coming around, sniffing around to try to upset the apple cart. But assuming that's not the case, nobody's trying to step in and snatch her from you, then I don't know that you need to get a permanent order, but you certainly can. And, in custody, the overriding concern is whatever is in the best interest of the child. And when a child has been with his or her caretaker for 8 years, that's not a relationship that a court would allow to terminate without, some very, very strong evidence that it's not in her best interest. So you've got time on your side. It looks to me like you could get a permanent order. You'd have to file a petition in custody, or
okay.
And if the original petition was filed, you may have to just file a document with the court asking the court to list it for a hearing. But if nobody, it works, the order works obviously for school to get her enrolled because she's been in school.
Right.
It works to get her medical care. And so
everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know that anything
don't bother anything if it's not broken.
Yeah. I mean, kind of, sort of, that's my feeling off the cuff here today is that I wouldn't be overly concerned, and I would just go about your business of raising your niece.
Okay. Thank you. You made me feel better, and I appreciate that.
Janie, take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now. 215-227-2727. Janie from Chester. Have a great Sunday. Dr. Benjamini, have you ever had a patient who passed away as a result of your techniques in manipulation?
No, I have not had.
Has anybody become more injured as a result of your techniques?
No, not that I know.
Okay. How does that happen? How did it happen here? Did you do some research on Katie May?
So yes, I've attempted to understand what the cause of death was associated with. And from what I have gleaned and learned is that She had a vertebral artery dissection, which led to stroke, ischemia to the brain, and then subsequently to death.
In layman's terms?
In layman's terms, she's had a spinal manipulation, which was attributed to the possibility of the emboli. An emboli, first there may have been a rupture or a disruption to the wall lining of the artery. Subsequently, an emboli formed, dislodged, and caused the blockage of blood flow to the brain, thereby causing the stroke. A stroke is a condition where blood is not supplied to the tissues of the brain. And for survival and for proper function, we need to have blood circulating to the brain tissue. In the absence of blood, you develop a condition called ischemia. And with ischemia, brain tissue is very sensitive to not having blood. And within minutes, you can have death to the tissue. Death to brain tissue results in death to the body. So
this manipulation had to have been done in an extraordinarily vicious manner. Is that a conclusion that we could draw from what we know?
No, it does not have to be done in any aggressive or forceful manner. The vertebral artery, you need to understand the anatomy. The vertebral artery are two arteries that supply our brain with blood. They go through the little holes of the vertebral bone of the first and second vertebral bones, which lie underneath our brain, our occiput, our brain bone, our head. So people with predisposition to weakened artery walls are at a higher risk of developing stroke to begin with. And you don't have to have any aggressive mechanism to have rupture or disruption of the wall lining. All it requires is a range of motion, rotations and extensions to the neck, which can result in weakening and disruption of the wall, and subsequently result in stroke. So it does not require an aggressive maneuvering.
How do you determine if your patient is susceptible to this condition so that you don't use a manipulation that could harm them?
Well, as healthcare professionals, chiropractors and osteopaths utilize manipulation to the spine to relieve pain and dysfunction. We are trained to perform a neurological and orthopedic testings to determine whether there is increased risk of compromised blood flow. That being said, we put the patient in certain range of motions to see if there is any compromise of blood, if the patient gets dizziness or double vision or any form of discomfort which is neurological. Then other than taking a thorough history which tells you there is increased risk of stroke in the family, you can kind of understand that there is a direction of perhaps some form of weakening of the blood flow. And if that's the case, we are trained to avoid, this is a contraindication to certain mobilization techniques that we can do to some people to the neck. And if these people are at high risk, you avoid doing such mechanism.
So take a history and look for signs and symptoms of increased risk, like dizziness and other symptoms that would demonstrate a diminished blood flow to the brain.
A vascular compromise, correct.
Okay. 215-227-2727. Going to the chiropractor is not supposed to make you worse. But in the case of Playboy model Katie May, who passed away as a result of a manipulation, that wasn't the case. We definitely have to get to a caller. So let's talk to Let's talk to John on line 2 from Kensington. John, welcome to Court Radio.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you, brother. What's happening? How are you?
I'm fine. Now I have a question about Social Security, and I'm almost ready for retirement. I called Social Security and asked them what would I receive when I retire, and they said I was ineligible because I have investment property. But I did work for years, and I want to know if there was a possibility that this is some kind of precedent that I could receive it.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what they meant by that, and I would need to see the paperwork. But it seems to me that they're saying you haven't had a job for a long time where you paid in Social Security benefits.
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay. Well, if you paid in benefits, having a passive investment property isn't going to preclude you from getting your Social Security benefits that you've paid for and you've earned. So I think there may be some miscommunication here, and maybe you want to bring your letter to Social Security to a lawyer to have them review it and perhaps make some calls on your behalf. Having said that, though, I have to caution you that any lawyer that you go to for that kind of service is going to charge you by the hour for their time. That's all they have to sell you is their time. And so if they sit down with you, they review the paperwork, they start making phone calls, you're on the clock and you'll have to pay for that. But, that seems like it's a necessary evil at this point because you have to have your Social Security benefits when you're ready to retire. Now, whether you're self-employed or you're employed as on behalf of an employer, you should be paying Social Security tax with your annual tax return. Okay, if you have income, that's the bottom line. If you have income, you need to be paying your Social Security tax. And sometimes, if you're self-employed, you got to do that on your own through your accountant, or you could run into a situation where you're not getting credit for the amount you owe properly, because each quarter each quarter that you work, each 3-month period, they look at how much you've put into the system to determine what your benefit rate will be when you're ready to pull out of the system. So you want to get credit for everything that you're entitled to. So you got to either get your accountant to make sure that that's happening, your employer, what have you. But if you've paid in, like you said, then you're entitled to take out. Having an investment property will not prevent you from being eligible to receive your Social Security when you hit retirement age.
Okay.
All right, John.
All right, well,
I
thank you.
No problem. But like I said, if you still need help, you need to bring that paperwork to a lawyer to get it reviewed and maybe make some calls on your behalf.
All right.
All right, John, take care. 215-227-2727. Let's talk to Betty from Bensalem. Betty from Bensalem. Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm really good.
Have you ever seen a chiropractor, Betty?
I actually have. I think 3 months ago, I had an accident and I had treatment done.
Did you feel okay after the treatment?
I did. I was really, really scared, as I am of almost everything, because I didn't want to hear my bones being broken or things like that. But it was really, I felt better afterwards. My back hasn't really been hurting anymore, and I felt way better after each treatment. Good.
Did your chiropractor manipulate you? Did he snap you into place?
He did.
Did you hear that horrible crunching sound of bones?
I did. That was really, really nasty. but it definitely made me feel better. My neck, my back, my shoulders, everything felt better. And he explained to me what he was going to do. And at every point, he technically cued me into, okay, now you need to breathe in or you need to breathe out. And not until I actually did those for him to see, he was not going to do anything. So, but he was really professional and really, really, it was a good treatment.
Good. I'm glad that experience went well for you. So,
Absolutely.
what's bringing you to Court Radio this morning?
Okay, well, I'm so happy to hear that that's the first time I'm hearing you guys because I'm late for work. So it worked.
There you go.
I have been engaged and I have the ring. I am scared to death to marry this guy because he has a kid. It's not my kid. He has a kid with a different woman, and I'm scared I don't know if she will be, child support will affect my income or just his income once we get married.
Just his income. Just his income. Yeah, you're fine. They're not going to count your income for purposes of child support.
Oh, okay. Because then I heard many people say that their income has been affected by child support.
No, you have no obligation to support the child. It's not by marrying the child's father, you're not taking on the responsibility of paternity on behalf of the child. That child is still the child of his or her mother, and they would look at the income of the mother and of the father.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, there may be certain deductions that the father is entitled to that he may lose because you're making those payments. And so, but your income is not going to be a relevant factor in determining his and the child's mother's child support obligations.
Oh, thank you so very much. I might actually set a date for this wedding now.
All right. Well, we all here at Court Radio want to hear if you end up getting married because of our advice. And
absolutely.
We'll get you in for a pre-marriage, prenuptial agreement, just in case you have all these assets that you want to protect from him. All right. Have a great Sunday. Thanks for calling.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. Bye-bye.
Bye now. 215-227-2727. That gets you into the studio. But during the week, that's the number for my Philly lawyer, where we will make sure that your legal needs are taken care of. Let's talk to Grayson from Philadelphia. Actually, Essington. Grayson, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dean. How are you, sir?
I am well, thanks. You listen to Court Radio regularly, Grayson?
Yeah, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
There you go. All right. Well, I want to help you, but I have a question for you. Have you seen a chiropractor ever in your life?
Yes, I had.
For what reason?
For back pain, I used with my previous job, I would be sitting on desk all the time, and they have a lower back pain.
And did this chiropractor that you saw help you with that lower back pain?
Yes, he has. He's doing a good job.
Uh-huh. And do you go regularly? Is this something that you've now incorporated into your life?
I've been seeing him for the past 2 months, 3 months.
Okay. Is this because of a workers' comp injury? Are you out of work, or are you working and being treated?
No, I'm working and getting treated.
Okay, because it's not uncommon. In fact, I would invite Dr. Benjamini to tell us, but it seems like people who are involved in auto accidents, slip and falls, or any work-related injury can benefit from the services you provide. Yeah?
I think maybe because I might be a little overweight sometimes, because that's the reason why I got my back problem, or because of my previous job.
When you say, Grayson, when you say you're a little bit overweight, what how much do you weigh?
I weigh about a little 240 pounds.
240, and how tall are you?
5'7".
Uh-huh. All right. You're more than a little overweight. And I know that because I'm 5'7", and at some point I was about 220 pounds at my greatest weight, and I was like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Yeah. So I imagine. So, and yes, that's a great point that Grayson brings up. Does weight on your body affect your spine?
Completely so. It's an excessive. The spine is a regular joint, like a shock absorber. The more weight you have.
I just recently got my MRI. My back, spinal cord, everything is fine. My hip is a little off, but then they say that since the bone, there's nothing wrong with the bone. They were just saying that it might be the tissue. You're feeling the pain.
Well, that's good news. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah. So as I was saying, the weight-bearing joints are affected by excessive weight. Certain lifestyles, whether it be work-related or sedentary lifestyle, can also result in pain to the joints.
I wish it was work-related. If it was, then after that, I would be giving you a call.
Yeah, and the important thing is that folks need to understand that you can get into a repetitive task. You don't need to have necessarily some traumatic injury. But if you're a butcher and you're regularly hacking meat, okay, or cutting meat, you might develop a condition called carpal tunnel syndrome in your wrists. And it's not from any one particular incident. You didn't drop to the ground and say, oh, my God, I now have carpal tunnel. It's a condition which developed over time by a repetitive task that you needed to engage in order to do your job. If you're sitting at a desk as a secretary, they oftentimes will get carpal tunnel in their wrists because of the constant movement that they have to engage in to type. And so I don't know that yours isn't work-related, Grace, and it might be. And it's something that you should talk to your chiropractor about and then kind of figure out, because you may actually be entitled to make a workers' compensation claim if you, the doctor, and everybody understands the mechanics of how this injury happened. Having said that, and taking into consideration what you said earlier, it may be more likely than not that this is a weight-related issue, and that it's like you're carrying, probably at 5'7", you're probably carrying about 10 bags of sugar, about 50 pounds too much. So it's like every day you wake up, you strap on your 10 bags of sugar from the grocery store, and that has its effect on your spinal cord. It has its effect on the bones that have to support you, like your hips. And so
I might talk to my primary doctor about that.
Yeah. Maybe Weight Watchers is in your future, Grayson. Maybe Weight Watchers.
I'm trying to do my best, but the holidays around the corner.
I
can't
know.
Those store turkey.
I'm horrible when it comes to that too. I like the Milk Duds. I'm a candy eater, and I just I don't know. I can't put it down sometimes, but keep trying. That's the important thing. If you wake up every morning and you keep trying to do something good for yourself, someday it may take. And I never know how many days you need to try before it takes. But if you give up, then it isn't ever going to happen. So you keep going at it. And let me answer your question now that you've been such a good sport about sharing with us your weight and height.
No problem. Okay, I'm trying to make it this short. A long time ago, I have a previous relationship. And she moved on, I moved on. But during the time, we used to sleep around seeing each other. And there was some kind of argument that day occurred, and we just stopped seeing each other. And now during that time, there was a child involved. And I got a hold of the baby picture, and then the baby picture looked exactly like me when I was a baby. And I have a picture when my mom was younger. She looked exactly like her. She mostly had like a lot of similarity of me. And she won't give me a DNA test, but I had a friend of mine who was a lawyer during that time. And he told me that there's no way that you can take her to court and get a DNA. Only she can take her to court. I just want to find out if it's mine or not.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
It's been in the back of my hand. It's been hunting me for the past maybe like 13 years.
Oh, whoa. How old's the child today?
One like young teenage, about like 12, 13.
Okay. It certainly would have been far easier to do this testing 12 years ago when the baby was born, or even 7 or 8 years ago. You could petition the court, though, and that's, I guess, the lesson to be learned for everybody. If the child's not of the age of majority, okay, once the child becomes the age of majority, then I would say you're out of luck, and that's 18 in Pennsylvania. So, but right now the child's not 18, and if you wanted to petition the court, you could file a paternity petition, and that petition would ultimately culminate in some DNA testing. Now, if somebody stepped up and took on the responsibility of being this child's father for the last 13 years, and you haven't been in the child's life, and I'm not blaming you for that at all, but that's a fact.
I was taken away, or I wasn't able to get involved.
I understand.
Like,
definitely.
The DNA test, it says that mine, I move on, but there's something, that's the reason why I'm still kind of behind the picture.
Yep.
I even have her close friends told me, like, listen, the baby looks exactly like you, but I don't want to be no homewrecker. I don't want to get involved with anything. But in the back of my head, it's still helping me now. I just want to know.
Right. And
I just want to get the truth out of here.
I understand. And that truth may end up costing you a lot of money if you've got a physical connection to the child. Then there will be the potential for child support.
Money is no problem, because I have a son myself, and when he grows up, I'm going to end up telling him, hey, you might have a half sister around.
Got it. Well, you can file that petition, and if you want to get together with the attorneys at My Philly Lawyer who do domestic relations during the week, all you got to do is call 215-227-2727. We'll help you get that petition filed. There will be charges for that, but you'll sit down with the attorney and figure out what it's going to cost you so you can make an informed decision.
Okay, but my question is how much I'm looking.
You're going to have to talk to the attorneys to sit down with that. I would imagine it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000 or $1,500, including filing fees, because we have to pay the city of Philadelphia a few $100s on every petition that we file as a new petition.
Okay, no problem. I guess I'll probably give you guys a call on Monday or something.
Thanks, Grayson. Have a great Sunday, and thanks for being a listener to Court Radio.
Likewise, Dean. I appreciate it. I love your radio. I listen to you every Sunday morning.
Thanks, man. Take care. Folks, we got to take a quick break because our sponsors are clamoring for you to hear what they've got to say. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back. I'm Dean Weitzman, and it is Court Radio every Sunday morning from 7 to 8 a.m., brought to you live right here in the studios of Radio 1, family of stations. I say that because I'm heard across all three. And so, no matter where you're listening to Radio 1, and I am Dean Weitzman. So, I take your legal questions one at a time, and I try my best to answer them today. If you don't get a chance to call in, or if you've been involved recently in a car accident, slip and fall, potentially medical malpractice claim, any of these areas where there's personal injury or death, My Philly Lawyer will be happy to sit down and provide you with a free consultation so that we can understand what happened and see if we can help you resolve your issues. We also do domestic relations and other areas, and we have Saul, who does wills and estates and helps folks with those problems. So I think what I'm trying to say is My Philly Lawyer should be your one-shop stop for legal services, because if we don't provide the service that you're looking for, I will make sure that you're in the hands of an expert in the city of Philadelphia who does it. And so I have a lot of contacts in the legal community, and I don't do everything. this is not a jack of all trades. I focus my practice on personal injury. I've hired other lawyers to that does other things. But at the end of the day, if I'm not comfortable representing a client for a particular issue, I will find an attorney who is. 215-227-2727. All you got to do is remember that number and give us a call when you need us. All right, let's talk to Bree from Northeast Philly on line 2, Eric. Bree, good morning. Good morning, Bree. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I have a quick question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dad was diagnosed about 6 years ago with stage 4 cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing fine. He was doing great. His chemo was going wonderful. So it was pretty much steady. So this year of February, he had gotten an appointment. And at the appointment, they checked him, and they said, well, sir, your liver enzymes are up. But we'll just keep a watch over you, and, it's not really alarming. Well, anyway, as months went by, he got weaker and weaker. So he, went to a few different hospitals, and he said, I'm feeling weaker. And they're like, oh, it's probably because of the cancer, but nobody did any blood work on him. So finally, he fainted outside, and he was rushed to, a trauma center, and then he did, an extensive blood work, and they found out that his gallbladder was infected, and it was infected to the point where his entire body was septic. So I said to them, how long was this going on? They said probably for 6 or 8 months at least for it to get this bad. So my question is this medical malpractice? Because his primary cancer center never looked in depth as to see why the signaling of his liver enzymes was elevated, because they probably could have caught it early and did it laparoscopically and take it out.
Right.
Versus, just allowing him.
What happened?
And what happened was, his gallbladder got infected, so then he got too weak for chemo, and then the cancer then killed him within 3 months.
Got it. Well, my condolences for the loss of your dad. When did that happen, Bree? How long ago?
This happened in April.
Okay. So
between February and April was when everything went downhill that fast.
Let's give you a little bit of information. Number one, whether you have a malpractice claim or not, it's the most complicated question anybody could ever ask me, requires the greatest amount of expertise, and it requires a thorough review of all of your dad's medical records, from maybe the onset of his problems where he was losing strength through to his death. So maybe 6 months before he died, maybe 9 months before he died, all the way up to the date of death, every single medical record would need to be reviewed in order to answer your question. Medical malpractice needs 3 things. It needs negligence. That means that there's something a doctor did or failed to do that most every doctor in his or her shoes would have done or would have done differently. So that's a breach of the standard of care. So if you're supposed to do the following tests when a patient has the following complaints and you didn't do those tests, then that's you have negligence. The question then becomes, do you have causation? Was that negligence the primary factor for bringing about, in your dad's case, his death? Okay, because if it isn't the primary factor, if it isn't a significant factor in bringing about his death, then you have negligence, but the negligence wasn't the cause of the third element, which is necessary damages. And so because he may have died because of a fulmination of his cancer, regardless of whether he had any problems with his gallbladder. Because sometimes cancer comes back, and sometimes the chemo stops working, and it just overtakes somebody's body very quickly. Now, I'm not saying that's what happened with him, but that's something that needs to be ruled out in order to know that this is, yes, if they had only, done the following tests when they should have, they would have caught this and they would have solved the problem, and Dad would be alive and well today. And so that is an analysis that has to happen, and it has to happen by us reviewing medical records. Now, you have 2 years from the date of Dad's death, or maybe 2 years from when you think his earliest interaction with the doctors was that he was complaining of this loss of energy. And so you probably have another year and a half to get this looked at. If you want to give us a call during the week, I've got on staff not only lawyers, but a doctor who will sit down and review medical records that you may be able to obtain.
Okay.
All right, Bree.
Great. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling Court Radio. Have a great Sunday.
You too. Bye-bye.
215-227-2727. Joined in the studio by the only man I know who has the same name twice, Benjamin Benjamini. Good morning and welcome back to Court Radio.
Hey, good morning.
Why never mind. I'm not going to even ask. I'm not asking anymore. How a parent could name, like Eric. I mean, if your name was Eric and your last name was Eric, would you name your kid Eric?
I think Eric Jr. would be a better idea.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Eric Jr. Eric. Yeah. It's, no. I think maybe they'd call him Smith. Smith Eric. Jack Jackson, yeah. But no, with Dr. Benjamini, you get Benjamin Benjamini, which is like Benjamin, the big boy, and Benjamini is like the little one. It's like, when you put an I at the end of the Benjamin, and you just sort of make it diminutive.
I hope not, but we'll move on.
All right. Benjamin Benjamini. So, folks, the good news is if Dr. Benjamini is your doctor, all you need to do is remember one name. Benjamin. And everything else flows from there. Okay? Did you see that bank shot? Wow. I had to go around Eric's head and into the can behind him. So, how long you been doing chiropractic care?
Since 1997.
Okay. So, you see your 20th anniversary is coming up.
Coming up, yeah.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And how long have you owned Center City Medical?
For about 15 years now.
Okay. So in your early days, you were working for somebody else?
Yeah.
Who?
Center City Medical.
Oh, you bought it out?
Yeah.
Wow. Cool. I actually visited the facilities a couple days ago. It's right in the heart of Center City on Walnut Street at 14th, 1420 Walnut, Suite 110. You just walk past the elevators on the ground floor. Keep on going. It's the end of a long corridor. You see a white, bright light. There's where you want to go, to Dr. Benjamini. He's at the end of the corridor.
That's when you see the light.
When you see the light.
Yeah.
They have to buzz you in, so look spiffy when you get there, so they're not, keeping the door locked. Or just mention my name. I'll get you in. All right? You say, I know Dean Weitzman. I listen to Court Radio. Dr. Benjamin. What do you do when a patient first comes to see you? What's the process somebody should expect?
Well, they'll fill out a patient's file, patient's information, and then they'll see one of our doctors to get examined and find out how we can help them. That's typically what it is.
Okay. And is there a standard protocol for a new patient as far as treatment goes, or is it tailored to them?
Oh, it's tailored to their complaints and to their condition. Nothing is standardized about medicine. Although we'd like it to be standardized, you have to tailor it to symptoms, to pre-existing conditions, to injuries, to age of the patient. There's a lot of variables that can change and help you decide their best treatment.
Do you keep patients after they've been discharged from the traumatic injuries on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, patients definitely come back. We call it maintenance care, just to get realigned or to get checked up and so forth, sure, patients come back.
And when I'm a patient of Center City Medical, can I expect to be manipulated?
Of course, that's part of what chiropractors do. Now, there's many ways of doing that. There's the traditional, more hands-on, and nowadays we also utilize various techniques with modalities to mobilize and open up the joints.
Will I feel better after one treatment?
This is the goal for every chiropractor, I think, to have the patients feel better within the first round. However, depending on the extent of the complications that one has, it may require more than one treatment.
That's a great question, and that is, how long is the average person a patient of your office?
I'm going to say that the average person is probably treating anywhere from 2 to 4 months. We usually like to see them 2 to 3 times a week at the beginning, and then tailor that off as they're making progress with their complaints, ultimately to once a week, and then to follow up every 6 months or to a year.
Now, if a patient has been involved in an auto accident in particular, and they come to see you, how is their treatment going to be paid?
Treatment for auto accidents, when there's car insurance, is covered under the medical coverage of that policy. When there is no car insurance, then you have health insurance that cover chiropractic and therapy. So that's the common mechanism of payment.
Okay, so folks, if you've been involved in an accident, whether you own a car or not, if you're an occupant inside a car or a bus, there is going to be insurance coverage for you that will pay Dr. Benjamini's bills. It's not going to come out of your pocket, and therefore there's no reason not to take advantage of the coverage that's available. If you've been injured, give him a call. What's the number they should reach you at?
215-735-8052.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I forgot that already. What is it?
215-735-8052.
All right. With that, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We still have some time left. Keep the calls coming. We'll be right back.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
I'm back, folks. It's Dean Weitzman, and this is Court Radio. If you've got legal issues, if you need representation for those issues, by all means, give My Philly Lawyer a call. 215-227-2727. Stick to somebody local. I say that because there's certain law firms that have come into the marketplace from way down south. I hold no grudge against them, but do they understand the idiosyncrasies of the local area? Probably not to the extent that a local attorney would. And certainly there's no shortage of lawyers in Philadelphia. But if you need representation, My Philly Lawyer will be happy to provide it. All you got to do is give us a call. All right, let me talk to Bill from Glasgow, Delaware. Hey, Bill, welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
I think we're both doing...
Hello?
Yeah,
Yes,
I think we're both
great.
doing well, Bill. Both doing well.
I was in your lovely city Friday.
Oh, welcome.
On 21st Street, heading south. Lady sideswiped my car with her mirror, wouldn't stop. I did get her tag numbers. I called the police. They never showed up.
Right.
I need to know what I can do from there.
Okay, well, let's see. First question always for me is, do you have insurance on the car you're driving?
Yes, of course. Yes.
Uh-huh. And do you have collision coverage and property damage coverage, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. And how much is your deductible? $500, $1,000?
$250.
$250. That's reasonable. Okay, so the easiest thing for you to do is to provide the information. Oh, were you injured in that accident, Bill?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the easiest thing for you to do is to bring your car to the body shop that you choose, get them to fix the car, put a claim in with your insurance company, explain to your insurance company what happened, give them the information about the other driver, and they'll go after the other driver, try to determine if they have insurance, and figure out, how to contact that insurance company for you, so that they can get paid back for the money they lay out. So if your car costs $1,500 to fix, you're going to get $1,250. They're going to take your deductible, deduct that from the amount of damages, and pay you the difference. That's the easiest thing for you to do, okay? And it will, and it should not cause an increase in your insurance rates. I say should not because some insurance companies don't always follow the rules, but if it's not a chargeable accident, if you're not at fault for causing the accident, it should not cause your rates to go up. Having said that, if your rates do go up, then you can always fight that issue with the insurance commissioner of your state. All of that, if you really said to me, Dean, I don't want to put it through my insurance company. I want her to pay for it the first time. I would say then that you have to do a Department of Motor Vehicle check. You have to supply them with the information that you have, the plate number, and ask them for the insurance information that car had to give Commonwealth of Pennsylvania when it became registered. And so you could do your own investigation, and you can find out who her insurance company is by providing the Department of Motor Vehicles in Pennsylvania with the information you have on the tag. But by and large, if there's usually only two reasons people take off from an accident. One, they have no insurance, or two, they're under the influence at the time and feel like leaving is better than sticking around and taking their medicine. And so I'm not overly confident that this person even has insurance. And half the people in Pennsylvania, or half the people, it's estimated in or around the city of Philadelphia, are driving without insurance. And so it's not an uncommon situation. So if you have the collision coverage, just put it through your own insurance company and let them go chase her around and see if they can get the money back.
Well, she was driving a brand new BMW, white BMW, with the T-tag still in the window. So
okay, well that
she had insurance. So.
That may mean that she does. It certainly makes me feel a little bit better that that's the case, and maybe she just simply didn't even know she hit you.
Well, I did pull up on the side of her, blew, waved my hand at her, and she just kept staring straight.
Well, maybe she thought you were making a play for her. Like,
Yeah, jokes this morning, right?
Well, look, I mean, anything's possible. She might be so attractive that happens every day, and so she's just got the stone face on. I mean, in Philadelphia, getting the stone face from a lady is, that could happen. We don't play around here. But I'm telling you, you can look her up through the DMV with her tag, or put it through your own carrier. One or the other. Those are your two choices. Best of luck with it, and thanks for listening to Court Radio.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care,
Happy
Bill.
holidays.
Same to you. All right, real quick, we're going to take Jeanette from Northeast Philly on line 3. Real quick. Line what? 3. Jeanette, I had to negotiate to get you on. Here, I'm going to tell you what to do. You ready?
I'll tell you, I'm looking like, well, God.
Yeah.
What's going on here? I'm from Philly now. He out of town. This is city of brotherly love.
And sisterly affection. Yeah. There you go. You completed my sentence. All right, here we go, Jeanette. Ready? You were ripped off by a contractor, $72,000. And the question is, how do I get paid back? You can do that. You can retain an attorney, which I believe you have, and you can work with your attorney.
I did.
Okay.
But no, wait a minute. Let me explain something. Now, the attorney went after I had a house fire, And the attorney went after the mortgage company, went after the insurance company. But when it came to this contractor, he dragged his feet about it.
Yeah, because here's
he don't have insurance.
Right. Here's Jeanette. Jeanette, I'm gonna tell you. Here's why he dragged his feet, because chances are to collect from a small-time contractor is slim and none. And, Slim left home early today. So you probably are not, and so an attorney would have to charge you by the hour, and it would probably cost you tens of thousands of dollars. You could get a judgment against this contractor. That's the easy thing. But collecting that judgment could prove extraordinarily expensive and maybe not beneficial for you. Having said that, sometimes the easiest way to go about this is to try to get the district attorney in the city of Philadelphia or the attorney general in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania involved in the case, because you may not be the only victim of this scoundrel contractor. And so they might get interested in the case. There may be other people like you and similarly situated, and they'll do the hard work for you. That's my best advice. I'm sorry I couldn't spend more time with you, Jeanette. Thanks for listening to Court Radio. If you still have questions, you can always give us a call during the week at 215-227-2727. And I thank the one, the only Benjamin Benjamini for joining